Welcome back, Chelsea fans, to the AGCFC podcast. We are back in the crib. We got the mic with us. We're looking a little more high production today. So today, we're going to rank all of the new signings that we have made under Xavi Alonso this summer. We're going to rank them from perfect, great, good, decent, meh, and bad. I don't think we've really had any bad ones, but we'll kind of get into that a little bit later. And then we are going to talk about our player predictions, top goal scorer, assists, who I think the best player will be this season, who I think could be the most improved. I got a couple for there. And then who I think could possibly flop at Chelsea this season or in general the next few seasons and get sold if they're a flop. But we start with Morgan Rogers. Look, I've put him into... I got to find his name here. I've put him into the great signing category. Okay, he's going to play alongside Palmer in probably that left cam position. Last season in the Prem, he had 10 goals, 6 assists, a 7 average rating on FootMob, started 37 games in the Premier League. Only 7 yellow cards, no red cards, which, funny enough, could actually be a big deal for Chelsea FC. But look, we obviously know he was bought in for $117 million, played for Aston Villa. I believe he was Aston Villa's best player. So I think it's a great signing if it's in that great category. The only issue is why it's hard to make any of these perfect just because we don't know how they're going to be. A perfect signing would have been Erling Haaland because he's going to come in and obviously be amazing. Morgan Rogers, $117 million. There's flop potential, and that's the issue with him. That's why I'm only putting him at great and why I don't want to make it perfect. But I also don't think... I think it's better than a good signing. So we've put him in great. I feel like we needed a player that can play kind of that cam position alongside Palmer, because Esteval can also play there. But in terms of these other wingers we have, like a Gittins, I almost said Garnacho, like Gittins, who else do we even have? Mudryk is probably going to go out on loan. Like, we don't have really many players who can play in that, like, cam position. Enzo Fernandez probably can, but it was a signing we definitely needed to make, and I feel like we almost should get another one as a backup, but I'm not too sure. If we end up playing the 4-2-3-1, then we don't really need another cam position player, but I feel like at this point we do. But Morgan Rogers, great. Now we're going to move into Lacroix. Lacroix, I've said he was a good signing. A lot of fans, a lot of you guys who might be watching, say he's a really good center back, and I do believe that, but it's no Van Dijk, obviously, but I feel like there could have potentially been other center backs who would have been better options. But look, he's 26. He's one of those players we've been, begging for experience. He's got Prem experience. How long, did he play at Crystal Palace for? I believe he played at Crystal Palace for 2 years. Obviously, they won trophies under Glasner. So I think it's a good signing. It could end up being great, depending on how well he does. But maybe it is great because we also did need a defender. So, I will say that's a great signing because we did need another center back. I think he'll fit in that central center back good alongside probably Reece James and Cowell, maybe Haddo in there, we'll see. But I will say that that's a great signing. We'll have to see what happens with him in the future. Valentin Barco, I think is how you say his first name. I've said decent. Look, he's came out in an interview recently and said he's comfortable in the midfield. Good for him. He can play in that left back spot, but now we have Pep and Haddo who can play that left wing back spot or just left back spot. So I'm saying it's decent because I just don't really know how much game time he's going to get. I don't think he's going to be playing too much, and it might be a player that we literally just sell after one season because he gets no game time and he wants to leave. So I'm just not sure for this one. He can be a great backup. If he can play that midfield spot as well, he can back up, an Enzo maybe. But I'm really just not sure. He got into the Argentina squad for the World Cup, so he's got talent. He showed it at Strasbourg when I feel like he played midfield at Strasbourg most of the time. So maybe that's why we're bringing him in. Can he play cam at all? Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see. But it's a decent signing. Nothing too special. Next, we'll go into Danny Welbeck. I've put in him as a good signing. Look, strikers, it's hard because we know he's not going to be the starter, and we have other strikers, I think we're trying to sell Jackson and Delap, but if we don't sell them, they're going to need some game time to keep their value up. So with Danny Welbeck, I'm just not sure how much he's going to play, and if he doesn't play too much and he's not scoring all that much, like he's a striker, you got to score. If you're not scoring as a striker, fans are going to be on your back and whatever. So that's why for him it's kind of a little scary. But for the experience in that front line, we don't really have any experience up top or, with the wings or anything like that. So I think it is a good signing. I think he will do A-okay. Again, we've been begging for older players, so it's a good signing. Jordan Henderson, I'm going to say great just because I feel like if Enzo leaves, especially, he'll be playing a lot more. But at his age, 35, 36, he's captained Liverpool before. He's won trophies with Liverpool before, so he's been there, done that. He's pretty much just going to be brought in for a coaching role, and that's why, I've put him in great. A lot of you guys could say he's like a meh because, he's going to be a backup, but I think it's great because for what he's coming in to do, a.k.a. just come in and be a backup, coach the team in a sense, I think he's a great player for that, with the titles at Liverpool. I think he's played 400, 500 games for Liverpool, the trophies he's won, so he knows how to win, and that is what this team has needed desperately. So Jordan Henderson in that midfield, a good backup. It's a great signing. Palestra, after seeing his preseason, Marco Palestra, you look absolutely phenomenal. I'm saying already that is going to be a great signing in the future. Could even be perfect. Look, if Reece James plays right wing back, he can back him up. He can also play on that left wing back. He looks great on both sides. He's one of those players that Xavi Alonso loves because he will be able to bomb up and down the wings. He's still got a lot to improve on. I think his shooting could be improved on, his passing. Obviously, he's young. But Serie A Defender of the Year, Serie A Fastest Player of the Year. No wonder Inter Milan fans wanted this man so bad. He's absolutely phenomenal. He's such an exciting player. Xavi Alonso, again, will want him bombing up and down that wing. Think that's going to be great. I think he will start on that right wing back spot because I think Reece James will be brought into that right center back spot, and I'd prefer that because I don't want Reece playing right wing back because he's going to probably be getting hurt. So I will take this for Palestra, or I will take Palestra. I think he's going to end up being a great signing. He could even be a player that ends up being 80, 90 million plus at some point in his career. How old is Palestra? Let me look at that real quick. I think he's 20, of course, now I can't find him. It doesn't matter. I think he's 22. So, great signing. Put him in that great spot. Quenda. I'm going to say, I have him down as great, but I think I'm going to put Quenda. I think I'm just going to have to say good because I'm not too sure about him yet. He looked good in preseason from what we saw. So I'm just going to say good. I feel like he can play right wing back spot as well. He can probably play that left wing back spot. He can also play in that cam spot, and he can play a winger spot. So maybe it is great because for him, he's going to be a backup, so he's going to be great for that. But I'll say like in between good and great, he's like, what's a word in between good and great? I don't know. Good 8, I guess he will be. So Giovanni Quenda, I think could end up being a great player for us, but I don't want him taking too much time away from other players, but I'm just rambling at this point. I'm going to say good for him. Emmanuel Amiga, the striker we got, he's apparently going to be part of this team. He's a player that could be taking minutes away from Danny Welbeck. That's why I said Danny Welbeck was good. But Amiga, I'm going to say meh. He's already got injured. If any of you guys know, he seemed to have issues with Strasbourg fans at some point last season. And look, man, we don't need any of that. We don't need any more crazy shenanigans here at Chelsea. If you're going to do that, you might as well just go ahead and leave. But I'll give him a chance, but just for now, I'm just going to say meh. I don't think there's anything too exciting about him. We haven't really even seen him play. But Pep Chavaria, however you say it, I'm going to say good. Like, he's 28. He's that experience in the back line. Jordan Henderson's experience in the midfield. Danny Welbeck's experience up top. I've talked about that a ton. Chavaria, I just don't really know anything about him, but he's good experience, so I'm going to say he's a good signing. We'll have to see what happens in the future. Will he be a starter for us? He's also very pacey, So them two will be bombing down the wings. I think he will start because Haddo I don't think is a very quick player. So maybe even Haddo might just play a lot of left center back behind Colwell. I don't know. We'll have to see. But Pep and, oh my God, Palestra will be hopefully bombing up and down the wings. That would be perfect. I'll say it's a good signing. Maybe it could end up being great, but we'll have to see what happens in the future. Satpayev, I'm going to say great because we've got like a million, quadrillion more fans now of Kagastans in the team. But no, I think that'll be a great signing. I think he's a really good player. I'm glad he's gone to Burnley. I'm actually going to have to watch Burnley every once in a while because Satpayev, look, man, that could be another player I end up getting a jersey of. I think he could be absolutely phenomenal. Maybe it should only be good just because we haven't really seen much of him, but he scored in that one game he played. He scored against Belgium in his career. He's played against Real Madrid, in the Champions League. So maybe it's just good for now. We'll kind of have to see what happens with him in the future. Mike Pendez, lastly, I'm going to say, Mike Pendez, you are a great signing. Look, he's so tall. He's the next, I almost said Belgium Courtois, but Courtois is from Belgium. So I'm going to say that's a great signing. Look, I've talked about this a million times, but with Sanchez and Pendez, look, if Pendez is looking good, even if he's not as good as Sanchez, just play him. Let him just play, get him the experience. He's, I believe, 20 years old. Let me compare the height, actually. Sanchez is, oh, Jesus Louise. Sanchez is 6'6", Mike Pendez is 6'7", so I guess he's not much bigger than him. But can I see how much they weigh, actually? Is that a thing? No. Sanchez is 28 now. Mike Pendez, I believe, is 20. That's what I wanted to look at. Mike Pendez is 21. So, yes, he's young. He'd definitely have a mistake in him. But I think it's a great signing. I think he will be great for the future. I'm glad he's not, complaining about being a backup probably to Sanchez this season. And he'll stay and be backup the next season. Get rid of Sanchez. Just have Pendez play. If he's not looking good, then obviously buy a new keeper. So, Rogers, great signing. Lacroix, I will say great. Barco, decent. Danny Welbeck, good. Jordan Henderson, great. Palestra, great. Quinda, good, great. Amiga, Pep Shavaria, good. Satpayev, yes, great. Pendez, great. Satpayev, maybe only good. But next, we'll kind of go through this probably fairly quickly. But Chelsea player predictions. Top goal scorer. It's pretty obvious, isn't it? It's going to be João Pedro. Look, I think it'd be João Pedro, then maybe a Danny Welbeck, then maybe a Cole Palmer, maybe a Rogers in there. We'll have to see. But João Pedro will be our top goal scorer. I think that's plain and simple. Assists, I do think Palmer will be back this season. I think he will play more of a playmaker role. So I think he will get the most assists. Again, maybe Rogers, somewhere kind of close to that. But we'll have to see. Now, best player, I'm going to go either Caicedo or João Pedro. I'm not really sure. Because João Pedro, I think, will just score so many goals that he could easily be our best player. So, you know what? I'm going to go João Pedro over Caicedo for our best player. Now, most improved, I kind of want to say Gusto for this because Gusto really struggled under Maresca. But I think a thing that's gone unnoticed is under Pochettino, Gusto bombed up and down the wing, and I think under Xavi Alonso, he might start as a backup to Palestra, but I think he's another player that could do that. I think Gusto will be very valuable this season. He can also play on the left, not as good as on the right. But if Pep gets injured or Pep's not looking that good, throw Gusto on the right, throw Palestra on the left, call it a day. I think it's as simple as that. Also, the man who has played the most preseason minutes, Wesley Fofana, I think he will have a big comeback this year, mark my words. Gusto and Fofana are going to be my two most improved players. Now, flop, I think it could be Omega just because he doesn't play much. Could be Palmer again, but the main talking point is the 117 million pound man. Could Rogers end up being a flop just because he was bought for so much? We'll have to see. But if you guys made it this far in the video, I hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.